Justice League. What's shaken? It's Friday. It's November 10th, 2023, and I fear that I'm all alone, but actually, I do enjoy my solitude, so I'm fine if I'm all alone. But if you're here and you want to say hi, that would be great too. So, I'm coming on to talk with you guys more about post traumatic stress disorder. And some people don't call it a disorder. Some professionals just call it post traumatic stress. So PTS without the D, because it's a very healthy and natural response to an unhealthy, stressful situation. Hey, Sunset Salty Sage and Pixie Knickers, what's up? Pixie, did you see the video yesterday that I found that little bird cage, the exact same one on Etsy? It was like 25 bucks. So if you just Google um, necklace, birdcage necklace, and then look on Etsy, it was probably many, many down, like maybe 30 or 50 scrolls down. But eventually I found the exact same one, like no joke. So I was super excited about that. Hey, Annie Ruler and Bex. So hopefully I'll be able to see the chat. It's been so challenging with the tiny cell phone chat. It's really annoying. 98 likes already with three of us. Are you kidding me? That's crazy. That's got to be a glitch. Oh, wow. Thank you. I wasn't feeling well yesterday. Oh, and I was so excited to find it because I had no idea if I would or not. And like I said, I just Googled birdcage necklace, and then I had to go to a whole bunch of things. There was a whole bunch of different birdcage necklaces, but it was on Etsy, and like I said, it was like 20, 30, 40, 50 scrolls down, and it was the exact same one. I even took screenshots of it, but I can't show it to you because, that would be on my cell phone, which is what I'm using to be on this live. So I'm just super excited to be here with you guys as usual. Every single time I get on a live, I'm like jazzed, not to be, symbolic or ironic or whatever, poetic. I'm really jazzed to be here with you live, which is why I continue to do the live, even though the phone makes it so hard to read the chat. So I thought about doing a pre-recorded. I've thought about that all week since I haven't had my laptop. But I also know that when I'm in other people's lives, a lot of times the creator can't keep up with the chat and the chat just kind of chats amongst themselves. So I will try to keep up with you guys, but I know that it's going to be a challenge because the glare. I did clean my glasses. I did as much as I could to get the glare under control. So let's see how it's doing. Um, Mine says 30 likes has to be a glitch. I've noticed that a lot lately. Well, and wild that I would have so many likes with so few people in chat, but maybe there's just a lot of lurkers watching, or maybe there's a lot of people that are just excited that I'm going on live, even though they're not able to watch. Who knows? And then there's glitches, right? And then there's hacks. So you just never know. It just keeps you guessing. Let's see. YouTube has been glitchy. Other channels are doing that. Very many likes, but only a few watching. That is wild. Well, and maybe it's the channels that are doing Kylie Rodney content. Maybe. Let's see. So glad you found the birdcage necklace. Yay. Yeah. I mean, it was a little bit high of a price because it's a finished product. It's not just the hardware by itself. So 25 bucks. I don't know if that's too steep or what have you, but at least it's there if you want it. Nice to know, right? So hey, Susan and Mark, thank you all for being here. Let me do my little thummy thing. Thummy thumb thumb, please hit that like so that we can get even more than the glitches are giving us for free. Everything I say is always my opinion only and for the sake of conversation, hoping to have a fabulous discussion with my crew here, my squad, my Justice League. and all videos that I've made to date have been for YouTube. It's an entertainment platform. So that said, please share the video if you like it. Make sure you're still subscribed if you are subscribed, and if you're not, consider it if you want. And then the other thing is to turn on your notification bell so that you're notified when I do my lives or when I drop a video. Lately, I've been pretty consistent with the Monday through Friday midday live. So just so you get a general idea of where we're at with that. It kind of evolves. I was surprised. Hey, Kenny, what's up? I was surprised when I watched a video yesterday from a year ago, and in the video, I said it was my third video of the day. That just shows you how freaking excited I was to have my channel, my third video in the day, and it wasn't even that late in the day. So that was the one that I told you guys yesterday that I reviewed, the affidavit from May 15th of 2022 of Sheriff Wu. And I highly recommend for anybody that's interested to go to the community post. I reposted that affidavit video. It's a 22-minute video. I pretty much read it straight through. There's a couple of minutes of me talking at the beginning, but I read through it uninterrupted. And it's freaking mind-boggling to think that the guy that's being talked about in the affidavit is the same one who was in charge of the Kylie Rodney case. And then it makes it like no small surprise that we're exactly where we're at right now. Let's see if I can read this. Pixie, do a Google image search. I found a bunch of these necklaces for sale on Poshmark and other sites. Oh, very cool, Bex. Thank you. I'll pay 25 for sure. Well, and maybe on Poshmark you can find it for less because even though that's like fancy schmancy, it's still used. It's secondhand. So probably like, I don't know, at least like 30% less, I would hope. So let's see what else we got. The aquamarine is so gorgeous and glowing today. Oh, the ring. Yeah. Oh, and what happened to my other ring? What happened to it? I thought I had it on. Anyway, it's all by itself today. I never know. I wake up so early. I tell you guys this, but I never tell you how early. Like I am up somewhere between 5:30 and 5:45 hopefully, and I'm out of my house by 6:30. So it's a very early day for me. So I'm kind of discombobulated as I get started, but then I pull myself together throughout the day. And then whatever I have, and whatever I don't have, I don't have. So that's my life at this point in time. Things are constantly evolving, constantly changing. Um, YouTube was probably brand new to me, watching, just being a YouTube uh, subscriber probably 3 years ago. Like, I remember with COVID and with the Suzanne Morphew case that I was getting really into the YouTube. So I was already familiar with it, but that was really ramping it up. And I'm bringing that up because I think that COVID is a very integral part of the Kylie Rodney case. I also think it's a very integral part of the Idaho 4 case. And money, 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 always follow the money and the COVID money. So let's talk about that today. I want to talk about PTSD. I want to talk about cashola, and what else we got. Um, a little bit of Maui and the G family. So with the Idaho 4, you guys, I'm sure you're well aware, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary on Monday of that horrifying slaughter. First thing I want to say about it is this. Just this morning, thinking about it, what struck me so much, I just tried to like clear my brain and just almost meditate on these cases. What strikes me the most in hindsight, remembering my perception when first hearing about this, was the calm from law enforcement, the calm of their first presser. And I think it was on day 3. And apparently there was a mass unaliver or mass unalivers free and loose in the area, and law enforcement seemed very much too calm about that predicament and just really laid back and like, yeah, it took them 8 hours to figure out that they needed to call us, and yeah, we would have liked them to call quicker, but they didn't. So cool your jets, it's all good. Like, that to me is a dead giveaway that something is up. Like, most law enforcement would be kind of like Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive, like this is an emergency and we can't waste a second, and I can't believe we're even taking a minute to have this presser, but we need to let everybody know that this is where it stands, because you're dealing both with transparency and keeping the public safe, and trying to keep things under wraps so that you're not giving any information to the criminals, right? I mean, it's that fine balance, and law enforcement is free to not disclose anything that they don't want to. However, when they're asking for the public's help and they're wanting to keep the public safe, because the last thing you want is public panic. In fact, it is illegal to incite public panic. And if you're not disclosing some information, you could make a case that that's going to induce public panic. So here we had 4 people slain. We had no suspects, and we had everybody involved in the investigation was there, or almost everybody that was involved in the investigation was there at this press conference. And what stands out the most to me, other than what I just said, is just how, is it Scott Green? Is that the president of the university? Because then you have Josh Green, the governor of Maui. So I'm sure they're related. No, I'm kidding. Like that's not an uncommon name, right? That is a common name. Anyway, so Scott Green, the president of the University of Idaho, he stood over that court of the presser as though he were the king of the court. And I personally believe that he is and was the king of the court, where in a life threatening, multiple fatality, multiple mass slaying situation like that, you would think law enforcement would be the king of the court. But that's what makes me so suspicious that things are super out of whack, that the president of the university, it looked to me, had the upper hand over the leadership of the law enforcement. Just like Kylie's pressers. Yes, thank you, Susan Dodge. I'm so glad I can see your awesome chat. Let's see, what did I miss? Uh, that COVID is brutal and long. This COVID is brutal and long. I know, I'm worried about it again. One of my kids had what they call the long COVID, and he's still not 100%. Um, yes, no urgency felt, just like Kylie's pressers. Right, right. Like, we're all gonna kick back. We're all gonna like line up in this court of kings and queens and jacks and aces. I mean, ridiculous. In my opinion, they are removing the red stuff that was possibly from injured slayers, in my opinion. Very interesting, Annie Ruler. Very interesting. Um, so, Julia13 has been an avid YouTuber watcher since she could hold a phone. She loved satisfying videos. I thought, oh my God, she's watching pervy vids. LOL. No, Play-Doh unboxing literally for years. Hey, JR Nana Boomer, if you want to share more, I'm not sure what J. Ulia 13, I'm not sure if that's a channel. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. That copper pane is is dodgy as hell. And Kenny, you are so on target. Like, you've got the wisdom of all wisdom. So I completely agree as well. He is dodgy AF. Um, when he made that strange comment and observation of how there were no stairs at the back of King Road, very odd. Although that wasn't, and I appreciate so much how sharp you are, especially being countries away and oceans away. That wasn't Payne. That was the other guy, Blaker. That was Blaker. So Blaker was the one who made that comment. I'm also tripping on the whole murder of crows that was on top of the 1122 house. I think that was in August of 2022. Um, and the person who called 911, and apparently they were an agent for Blue Sky Realty. All of that is so bizarre. Like, nobody's going to call 911. Nobody, unless those birds were like attacking a human or something. That's just ridiculous. And then the whole thing with the Blue Sky Realty, I'm thinking that that has a lot to do with everything. That has a lot to do with probably money laundering, because real estate is usually how they do that. So yeah, Brett Payne is the lead, and he is the guy. He's really short. He's about the same height as Xana, and there's a video of him shining a flashlight in her eyes when they come to the door, and she answers it for a noise complaint. Again, probably in August, maybe September of 2022. And then Sergeant Blaker, who was on that fake call, because they said there was a noise complaint, but there wasn't actually a noise complaint to that address. So when they went over to the girl's house from Jack D's residence, where the noise complaint was, um, you know, appointed to, but then they took it upon themselves to intrude on these people's property and trespass and intrude on their civil rights and lie, bald-faced lie. There was no noise complaint. So that was Rosendale and Blaker. And Blaker was a sergeant. He was the same sergeant who had worked with Kaylee, with Kaylee G on the missing person report that she made the year before in October of 2021. So, so that was Sergeant Blaker who said that, and it was very odd. And then Rosie is what some people call Rosendale, took a photograph of her ID with his cell phone, which, if someone is an actual suspect, that's fine, but she was not a suspect, so that was not fine. That was extremely inappropriate. So yeah, Kenny, like I said, I hate to correct you because you're so freaking sharp, but I know that you would want to be corrected on that anyway. Um, and yeah, dodgy AF. They almost all of them are really. They were so blasé. What a perfect word, Susan. It was that pudgy cop that said about the stairs. Payne said, "We will find out who lives here one way or another." Right. I mean, they were at that house a lot. I want to say that when they came, when Payne was speaking to Xana, that was maybe 2 nights in a row that they had calls, or maybe even 2 calls that night. I think he says that in the conversation with Xana. But yeah, the whole thing is dodgy AF, right? Real evidence is long gone, which is what I think was their intention, right? With the 8 hours and then the additional 4 or 5 hours. And good morning, Sudie. We need your address. Did you email me your address? Thank you for coming, and no problem about being late. I just want your address so I can send you what you want, the necklace and the earrings. And then Monday, I was going to do another giveaway. Name a car from a edit, please. I'm not sure what you mean. Name a car from a edit. Huh. I'm so confused, Mikey, if you want to. elaborate. Sorry, I get mixed up with names, etc. It seemed to me that those coppers made it their goal to keep harassing those kids. They really did harass the girls and they escalated them and they wanted them to be afraid. They wanted them to be very afraid, which is pretty spooky when you put that in the equation with what actually happened to them. But yeah, for the sergeant to make that comment, I think that was just the month before the attack. I think that that was maybe October. It might have been September. It was just 1 or 2 months before 4 of them were attacked in the house, and perhaps access was made right at that door where Rosie took a picture. He took more pictures than just the one of her ID too, you guys. I'm sure you know that. He said crows hovering means death. Well, whatever it is, like you wouldn't call 911 unless you're in a freaking Hitchcock movie. Seriously. It's like it was an omen. In my opinion, it was an intentional omen, possibly. Allegedly. I think that Kyle Fry boy needs to be looked at deeper. So Kyle Fry is is that Bethany? No, not related to Bethany. I forget who Kyle Fry is. I'm not sure if that is a person because you got Kyle Payne and then you've got I think it's Steve Fry who or is it Steve Funk? There's so many names. Anyway, Crime Watch with Kenny, you're probably talking about Kyle Payne, Brett Payne's brother. But I know that there are some fries. Would you like fries with that? Other than Chief Fry, there's also the Fry, maybe that was like a coroner for Kootenai County or something like that? Or is that the person with the same last name as Bethany Funk? Cody Funk is coroner for one of the counties around there. And then I want to say that there's a Steve Fry who's also a coroner. Um, and I've wondered about the University of Idaho and what type of medical research they do there, not just genetics and maybe fertility, but also other medical research with transplants. I think there's a lot there. Creepy AF. Let's see. J, our Nana, Julie, my granddaughter, she would do a search, oddly satisfying videos. She wanted to do the unboxing videos of Play-Doh, like the one she watched. I'll send you a link. It's funny. That is funny. Um, yeah. Name a cat for an edit. Name a cat or name a car. Um, I have no idea what you are talking about. And I don't know if you're just being a goofball or if you're, yeah. Um, did Rosie take that picture with his personal cell phone? Sudie, I'm not sure. I've wondered that myself. If that was with his personal phone, then that's even more creepy AF. Um, I have no idea if that was a personal cell phone or a work cell phone. Wasn't an ID found with BK? Yeah, they said that there was an ID inside of a box, inside of a glove, right? So much weird stuff with that. Wonder if it was reproduced from the picture that the copper had taken. Very, very good question. Um, that DUI nurse that a man on bike was let go and Rosie calls started the next day. Yes, the house was the target of It was not only a target of Moscow PD, but they really were escalating every situation that they could. Like, remember that one call where they were like pouring out all the alcohol that was in a backpack right outside the door? Like, that was messed up. Just so wasteful. And I don't think they had any right to do that. They were just being jerks because they wanted to, because they weren't invited to the party, right? No, I didn't. Oh boy, thank you. I will do that in a bit. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Send me your address, please, so I can send it over the weekend. I might not be able to get it into the mail today or tomorrow, but I definitely will get it into the mail by the end of the weekend, by Monday. And then on to the next giveaway. B and D walked past cops, did not admit living there. Um, I'm not sure if you're talking about one of the calls, one of the noise complaint calls. Anyway, let me stay caught up. You didn't read the comment above the one you did read. It was supposed to be connected, but I didn't have enough characters. Sorry, Pixie. Um, he was a football player. Fry. Oh, Andy Ruler. Interesting. I didn't want to get into the whole football thing. You guys know I've been talking about that Steubenville football, high school football crime scene from about 11 years ago that I think is extremely relevant in the Kylie Rodney case and possibly in the Idaho 4 case too. And I'm just so sick of thinking about it. I'm so sick of talking about it. I hope I'm dead wrong. I don't know if I really want to go there today, but if I've piqued your interest and you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google um, uh, assault essay Steubenville, Ohio, 2012 was when it happened. Um, Hideous, heinous situation. I've been talking about it a lot for, I think, an entire week. So I don't like talking about it. I don't like thinking about it. I hope that I'm completely amiss. I hope that I'm just tripping and that it is nothing to do with anything. But I fear that that's, like I said, relevant with the Kylie Rodney case and relevant with the Idaho 4. Um, it's bad. It's really bad. Let's see. New spelled differently. Okay. He also looks more like the guy with the girls at the grub truck. He wears a black Nike cap at the time. The same type of cap as the one that's supposed to be Jack. Interesting. Very interesting. I'm still suspicious of Jack D as well as Jack uh, S as well. Let's see. Makes me feel MPD protects corner club dealing. Put put others 1122 king out of business. So corner club and fight club, you guys. I can't remember if I shared that with you in a video. I know I was texting with one of my mods about it. I think I shared it in a video. That it had just occurred to me a few days ago that maybe the name of the corner club had some relevancy with that whole fight club thing. I know the corner club's been around for a long, long time. The guy, Mark Drivelpiece, who bought it roughly 15 years ago, that it was already like a fixture of the Moscow community before he bought it. Um, and, Fight Club's been around for a long, long time too, much longer than just the Brad Pitt movie. And, before the book was written, the book was written after it was already a thing, of course. Um, let's see. Tony Dodge chat. Yeah. I know. I don't know that he was talking about KR. I mean, whoever he was talking about, it was really sick. And one of the other slang that's used to refer to that is training somebody. And it disgusts me to say it, but if you hear the word train or especially training, that's what they're talking about. Um, Tony Dodge Chat said, yeah, so gross. I don't think it was Jack S. at the grub truck. I reckon the Kyle Fry boy. Interesting. Well, Jack Showalter was at the grub truck. I think he was the one who walked the girls from Corner Club. But there were a lot of people in the grub truck. So, but maybe that's a misidentification, the Jack S. I don't know. Um, let's see. I saw a bad pic of JD today, day after staying puffy one eye, not both from crying, in my opinion. Interesting, Annie Ruler. Very, very interesting. Yeah, I was looking at uh, the G family's Facebook page today. I don't look at that very often, but it was interesting. There was a lot posted because I believe it was today is the 1 year anniversary of the last time they saw her. And they posted, I think it was the mom posted about her getting into her new vehicle to go back to Moscow. And she had the dog with her, of course. Um, let's see. I'm going to be listening as I cook. Good, always good to cook. Does anyone know that girl in the white coat at the grub truck? I know, I'm so curious about her too, Sudie. She tries to pick up the guy in the sweater with the long hair. Yep. And hello, Christine. What you cooking, Kenny? Okay, so what did I want to say about the PTSD is that when you tell your story of your trauma, every time you tell it differently. And in doing that, it is healing to share your story. It's important to share your story when you're ready and when you feel safe and comfortable. Each time you tell the story, you're going to tell it differently. You're going to remember it differently. And a lot of times when telling the story, you come to a brand new realization that you never came to before. So it's also super interesting that when law enforcement is listening to a victim recount the incident of what happened, that they fully expect that story to change the story, but that you're remembering things and putting things together as you're talking and as time passes. So situations like in the Watts case when NK was interviewed by the police and then they said, well, if you think of anything else that anything comes up, please get a hold of us. And she was very confident, like, oh, I won't think of anything else and I won't get a hold of you. And that is a huge red flag because you will think of new things. You will think of things differently. And why would you want to shut the door on that? Ironically, she um, overshared and was texting one of the detectives all hours of the night, and then she typed up her 7 or 11 page list of all kinds of weird stuff that she handed them. So she did come up with more stuff, but for her to have that response to say, oh, I'm not going to have any more information in my memory, I'm not going to have any other reason to get a hold of you, that was a huge red flag to them. That tells them that she's hiding something. Um, let's see. I'm so glad I can see your chat today. Potato pancakes, yummy. That sounds so good. Um, IKEA used to have really delicious potato pancakes with sesame seeds that they sold at their in-house restaurant. Sorry, I was caught up listening to subpoenas happening in real time while cleaning my bathroom and lost track of time. LOL. Present and listening. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and especially the mods, but especially everybody, and especially to the replay crew. I appreciate each and every one of you, including the lurkers. Those folks are just as valuable. I remember my dad's potato pancakes were the best. Did they have the sesame seeds in them? Sorry, fingers not working today. So many subpoenas are happening for Epstein's private passengers and where they were going. Oh, squirrels. You're reminding me of the other case that I said a week or two ago I was going to start talking about, and I haven't yet. I don't know what's going on with it, and I can't think of the names, but it's a couple of dudes that hung out with Epstein. And I know you know these names and it might come to me, but one of them was the CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch, and the other one was the CEO of Victoria's Secret and a whole bunch of other stuff. So those two dudes hung out with Epstein and they're being sued for the same type of stuff from the models for their companies. So that's going to be coming up a lot. And maybe that's why the subpoenas with the Epstein case. I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's all connected because those cases, um, like I said, I have their names, but they're just not in the front of my brain. I almost looked them up because I was going to talk about just the fact that that is an upcoming thing. I didn't realize retelling a story is a way to heal. It absolutely is a very powerful way to heal, which is why it's so important to talk about these heinous events. I will have to remember that when Paul tells his story. Thank you. Paul, I'm not sure who that what is that you're referring to. Shan, that's awesome. I saw Pelosi was served one on the House floor. Hope one was her. Annie Ruler, yes, I saw that pic again of JD. He looks like he was in a brawl. So much is also happening with Hammer Time Pelosi. Oh, really? Yikes. That's crazy. That was so bizarre. That was really, truly bizarre. I knew or know Hammer Time was sus from get-go. Yeah, that was really odd. Um, I I just don't even know what to say about that. So let's talk about the money. Following the money with Kylie Rodney, we know that her mother was being investigated for um, those PPE loans that small businesses could apply for and get a big uh, amount of thousands of dollars and not be expected to repay it, except that she may have been fraudulent in the information that she gave. So she was under investigation and probably was having to repay some PPE loan money. Um, you guys, do you remember with the Moscow case that this is totally gone away? But I don't think it's a figment of my imagination. The University of Idaho was under investigation. Maybe the sororities were under investigation, maybe both, for a lot of the unemployment money that remember people were getting paid $600 a week bonus in addition to whatever unemployment they would be bringing in when there was the stay-at-home order and the lockdown from March of 2020. And those that money continued for at least 6 months, that $600 a week. So $2,400 a month on top of whatever each person drawing unemployment was getting from their unemployment. So I remember hearing about this early in the case that the university and or the sororities were under investigation for maybe fabricating fake students or something like that, that they were being investigated for that money. Do you guys remember that? Um, Sorry, I wanted to share my excitement. I'll go back for cleaning and listening. Oh, you're fine, Shan. Yeah, I missed you last night that you didn't do another live, but I was glad that you were taking some time, some downtime for yourself and your kid and your puppy dog. Your very needy puppy dog. Nova is the bomb. Oh, she cracks me up. I love her. That helps me get the poison out of your body, talking about trauma. Oh, I like the way you said that, Susan. That is true. The poison out of your body. Yeah, I mean, crying and screaming and laughing and expressing yourself. Expressing yourself absolutely releases that toxicity. And it also just helps to reassure yourself that you're not the problem, you're not the toxicity. The toxicity is separate from you. The incident is separate from you, especially when it's an assault, an SA. Something that's so powerful, in my opinion, is victims who have said that they are the crime scene. They are the crime scene. Like, seriously, like when they go in to get checked by a doctor in the emergency room and do an SA kit, their body is the crime scene. And that is a lot of negative, toxic crud. Let's see. I wonder if her dad put her up to the had so many assets. I wonder if her dad put her up to it, though, being he had so many assets. You know, Lindsay's dad, I would think you're talking about, Shan. I don't know, but in watching your videos, and I have finally caught up, thank you. Um, thank you so much for all that excellent work. The way you're questioning, um, and I said his name wrong, David Robinson. It's Robertson, right? The way you're questioning his connection with SF is really astute. And I'm thinking that you're onto something there. That initially I thought that SF was just like spying on him and trying to, connect with him and get him into his clutches and get information from him. But the way you've been questioning it makes me reconsider that maybe it was the granddad who hired SF or who had a connection with SF and asked SF to be there. Because why in the world would they let him be there at these extremely personal, private, emotional times? And why on earth would the granddad, have given him a key to the gate to the lodge the first day he met him, allegedly? Like, I don't believe that. I do not believe that. That would be bizarre. It's possible, but it's bizarre. Um, let's see. Kenny, you got maple syrup or top them with other condiment or just plain? Maybe raspberry jam, strawberry. Susan Dodge, thank you for explaining. Can't get a loan if you already have assets, just saying. Okay. Hello, Sunflower Dragon. At least that large of a loan. Who was number 9? Fry. Who was number 9? I'm not sure what you're referring to, number 9 and Fry. Annie Ruler, please elaborate if you wish. I also find it odd, the allegations she changed something on him. Oh, she changed the yeah, the passwords. Yeah. Thank you, squirrels. That's brilliant. Yeah, Lindsay changed the passwords on the bank accounts that were shared with her father. That is super odd, isn't it? Sending love and light with prayers of protection to the fearless, persistent, loving seekers of justice for Kylie. Capeless? Capeless superheroes and your families. Thank you. Amen. Thank you. Eggs and bacon, scrambled here. Oh, that sounds delicious. Yeah, I had yogurt this morning. I eat a lot of yogurt. I love it. Um, let's see. Autumn. Or no, that's not autumn, is it? Antonio? Antonine? Hello. Squirrel says SF isn't going to drop a job in photography unless the thing he's canceling for is higher profit. Really good point, Shan. Was it pro bono or did he think he'd get the reward? Right. I agree 100%. I mean, he described himself as being this ambulance chaser that just had a bleeding heart that would just come running anytime anybody was in crisis. So he would come and do what he could to help. When no, there's going to be an agenda, especially a person like him, but pretty much with anybody. I mean, anybody who has a life, you can't just drop everything you're doing and run to show up at these things. I mean, if you're doing that as a business, like some of the YouTubers that go to the places that they are covering the cases on, they go to the court cases, they go to the towns. I know um, True Crime Rocket Science does that, and JLR does that. A bunch of others do that too, but those are some that come to mind off the top of my head. Um, let's see. Beck says, Annie, number 9 jersey at the Grub Truck. Thank you. I was totally drawing a blank in the live stream footage. Yeah. Okay. So, the money, following the money with Lahaina too, of course, the land grab, the water rights grab. You guys, that thing that I heard earlier this week about Lahaina not having safe drinking water for something like 18 to 36 months from now really creeped me out, especially when you put it in the context of the water rights that had been won by the natives, by the native islanders, that had the deadline of August 7th for their application to get those water rights that they had already won through like a 20-year lawsuit that had finally been settled, or the judgment by the judge. I'm not sure which it was, but August 7th was the deadline to get those applications in to then get the water rights. And then August 8th was the day of the fires. And now they're saying there's not going to be running water for, like, there's not going to be safe running water for a year and a half or 3 years. Like, could it be more obvious what's going on there? To me, it's a sham. Absolutely a sham. Um, let's see. My stepson and wife used to do Victory Secret shoots. Victory Secret shoots. He told me about video blackmail being made of the men. Annie Ruler. Whoa, you're blowing me brain. And I think I know what you're saying. So like situations like what Tony Dodge was talking about in his chat a year and a half ago, 6 weeks before Kylie Rodney went missing. And then that's going to be videotaped. And then those guys can be blackmailed, especially if this person is underage. Holy crap. You just blew my mind. You just blew my mind. So yesterday I was speaking about the mayor of Maui, and I always forget his name. It's Richard Bison, Bisen. And I always just remember that it's something similar to Biden, but not Biden. So Richard Bison is that Maui mayor who, to me, is about as untrustworthy as they come, right up there with the police chief Pelletier and the governor, Josh Green, why these figureheads are not under investigation is really suspicious, in my opinion. It makes me think that it's a much bigger coordinated effort, much higher powers of a coordinated effort, which would make sense. Um, let's see. Okay, there's nothing new there. Good, because I wanted to talk about this. The jumping back into the Idaho 4 case. I've said this so many times, but I wanted to discuss again today about what is on that surveillance camera and audio tape, the conversation between Maddie and Kaylee when they're walking from the corner club to the grub truck, and hoodie guy is with them. And I've never believed for a minute that that is authentic um, audio tape. I fully suspect that that's spliced in there. It's just too convenient that they're saying what they're saying right as they're walking by that point. It's entirely too much of a coincidence, and there are no coincidences in homicide. And I want to specify that that's not a quote that I made up. That's a quote that a lot of people use. I got it from the movie Zero Effect, that has a lot of wisdom in it, and it's really a, like a comedy, a dark comedy about a private investigator and training a private investigator. So that's one of the first things to learn, is that there's no coincidences in homicide. So the the fact that allegedly, as they're walking by that one point that's on camera, and you can hear them clearly say, Maddie, what did you say to Atom? And Maddie says, I told Atom everything. And then Hoodie Guy says, Oh, Maddie, they're going to get you for that. That to me seems very possibly like it's inserted there to throw the investigation off track. And especially the like YouTube armchair detective investigators. So I don't buy it at all. It is interesting, and I could be wrong, and maybe that is actually what was said, but, either way, it's an interesting storyline. So, implying that there's information that Maddie shared with Adam that Kaylee was concerned about, and Maddie threw caution to the wind and told him everything. And then Hoodie Guy says they're gonna get you. They, I don't know, were these the people that did the crimes that happened a couple hours later? Because again, we're being sold that it's one one, right? One suspect, which is insane. Unless that one suspect was a trained assassin and knew the layout of the house like the back of their hand, and knew the dog, and knew when they were going to be home and which rooms they were in. There's just no way, you guys. There's no way that anybody would have known that without what they call an inside job, like somebody on the inside communicating who's home and who's in which room. I am 100% convinced that somebody on the inside communicated to whoever did this who was home and which room to find them in. So, yeah, I stand by that firmly. Um, let's see. Yeah, what your stepson said, Annie, is very creepy and probably very precise. I thought Katovich. I forget who that is. Katovich. I'm thinking it's somebody in the Idaho 4 case, but I'm totally drawing a blank. I feel that about the audio too. You're on point. Well, Rachel, I'm the only person that I've ever heard talk about that. And I'm not patting myself on the back like I'm right. I'm just curious why people are so quick to buy it. Like, we have to be skeptical of everything, absolutely everything, in my opinion. So I'm glad to not be alone on my island. I appreciate your company, Rachel. It could be accurate, but I just think it's highly, highly, highly unlikely that they just happened to be speaking those words when they just happened to be walking by the audio tape and videotape surveillance. To me, that's just crazy. That's just too much. Um, Annie, yeah, I think you're right. Beck's, how about number 8 seemed wired. So number 8 and number 9, so these are football jerseys because you got to remember this was the night of the big game with UC Davis, and they had already played UC Davis. To my understanding, they'd already played them at Davis in California, and they lost that game, I think, and somebody was attacked with a knife, I think, the night of that game at Davis. And then this was the home game, and we know that they lost. And, thinking about the whole Steubenville template and these football players maybe selecting who they felt like training. I didn't want to talk about this, but I'm talking about it. Um, Maybe these people were selected. Maybe what my butt said about nobody being SA'd was a big fat lie, just like them all being asleep and in their beds was a big fat lie. I mean, I can't believe anything that the authorities in this case are saying. And again, just like with Kylie Rodney, you take these incredibly attractive young people that are deceased, and then it's all rated G, like they just ended up deceased and nothing else bad happened. Like, give me an effing break. That's so unrealistic. That's so far fetched, almost impossible, in my opinion. SEX and Red Rum go together. Unfortunately, there's a lot of violent criminals that have their hard wiring all twisted up with that crap. And it's extremely sick. It's some of the grossest of all gross, but especially when you have people taking steroids. Testosterone does a number on people's brains and that hard wiring, and the steroids crank it up a few notches. And if people are long-term steroid users, which a lot of people are, it pretty much gives an individual like a frontal lobotomy. Like they just don't have the ability to think with reason. So they're just like your nightmare Freudian id, just running around wanting self gratification without the ability to think of anything except gratifying themselves. So it's a very, very disgusting thought. But um, I wonder. I wonder if there wasn't a situation like that, especially if these girls were all over the OnlyFans pages and they had fans at other schools, other campuses, like the University of California at Davis. Um, Katovich. Okay, I heard Katovich, but then I also read someone throwing out Tommy Hauser's name. Jack K. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's Jack K. Right. There's the other Jack. So we have at least 3 Jacks. Jack D, Jack S, and Katovich. Thanks, Bex and Sudi. Justice, ADM, Healthcare, Interactive, Healthcare. Interesting, Jen. I've not heard anything about this, Adam. Healthcare, Interactive, Healthcare. Wow. Was Jack K the driver for the girls as a freshman pledge? In both the Idaho 4 and the Kylie Rodney case, there's still a very mysterious lack of clarity in the events that led up to the demise of these people. So, exactly where they were at what time and what they were doing, the victims in the Idaho 4 and Ms. Kylie Rodney. Like, we don't even know where Kylie Rodney slept the night before on August 5th, August 4th. We don't even know where she stayed and where she was that day. All we know is what Lindsay said about that she had texted with her and she said she was going to go to the gym and that she was going to go to Hot August Nights, and then she changed her mind and was going to go to this party instead. We don't know that she went to the gym. We know that Kate and Mags said very vaguely that they had hung out with her that day. They didn't really specify time frames. Like, that's odd. You're usually going to try to nail down a time frame, and then you're going to verify it and you're going to check it out and make sure that these alibis check out. Um, the fact that we don't know what Kylie's last 24 hours were like, it also throws a monkey wrench into the whole time frame of when things actually happened, like when the clock starts, when were those last 24 hours, like were they the last 24 hours before 12:30 the night of that party, or was it 24 hours prior to those 24 hours? Like, were they already trying to mess with the timeline? My guess is that they were already trying to mess with the timeline because that's what criminals do. The other thing I wanted to say about the Kylie Rodney case is that she had to be unalive before the party, in my opinion, from all the information that I've gathered, and that all of them telling the same story, that she was alive when they last saw her and nobody saw her leave. So, no one's going to say that they saw her when she was unconscious, right? I mean, even Elsa or Jane Doe, with the story about her falling into a hole, it's implying that she could have gotten a concussion, in my opinion, but it's not saying that they saw her knocked out. So nobody is going that far. Everybody's story is that she was conscious. So I'm thinking she was 100% not conscious when everybody last saw her. I know that that's probably been a thing that a lot of us have come to again and again, but I just really came to it again in the last 24 hours. Like, she was out. She was out. And the whole thing with, stay alive for me, keep fighting, I think that's a sham. I think she was already unalive. I think that's a total sham. Let's see. Yeah, and who was the driver for the girls getting back from the grub truck to the house? That's extremely important. Lahaina is Harpo Land, Annie Ruler. Yeah. Never heard of Tommy Hauser. I'm not sure who Tommy Hauser is. It rings a bell, but I'm not real familiar. Um, it's up and running. Take a look. Today's world, it's a shame that so many holes in these cases. So many holes in their cheese, bro, to quote our good friend Shan. There are so many holes in these cases. And yeah, you can't have it like that. It doesn't work. Um, they did their jobs in Maui, did what they were told. Why investigate sick? Yeah, Annie Ruler. So I don't know if you caught, I think it was in my live yesterday or the day before, I think it was yesterday's, talking about how Chief Pelletier had just found, after 90 days, body cam footage of his officers evacuating people and rescuing people, like all of a sudden after 90 days. And it could be authentic body cam footage of law enforcement evacuating people and rescuing people, but why 90 days? And he would have been showing that off on day one that he knew about it. So either he didn't know for 90 days or it's it's reenacted, possibly. But it could be that officers were doing that the day of the fires and they didn't want their boss to know because they were not following orders, in my opinion, possibly. Um, Mark says Kylie was gone before. Why the friend? She doesn't have details to help Kylie. Yeah, Mark, I think you're on it. Um, Annie Ruler, I thought number 9 was JK, but who is number 8? He tried to stay out of camera view before the fake party. Yes, LOL. I know. Stupid fake party. I believe Tommy Hauser is the brother of the girl with the, is that a backpack? I'm not sure what that little red thing is. Jackie, I don't know. Sorry. And everything I say is what I have read. I do not know anyone personally. Good point, Sudie. I think that's true for all of us here, or at least almost all of us for sure. Um, yeah, it's all theory and speculation and trying to figure out what gives because, with Kylie's case, we're at what, 15 months plus, and with Idaho 4, we're at just about 12 months. And that, in my opinion, law enforcement in both of these cases had a good handle on things quickly and is part of the cover up, in my opinion. I feel B asked BK over watch for lights. Saturday up on Indian Hills where maybe he could see the house. Trees clear, gave perfect view above. Yeah, there's a really creepy perfect view from Jack D's house of the 1122 King Road residence. And yeah, the 10 calls, I think it's a combination of email, or not email, sorry, texts and phone calls from the combination of Maddie's phone and Kaylee's phone to Jack D. And why very little, if any, information about those attempts to contact him is very creepy to me, very indicative of something super significant, just like the 911 call. We still don't have the 911 call for either the Kylie Rodney case or the Idaho 4. That's sus AF, in my opinion. So we're just about an hour. I'm going to keep reading and stay caught up with you guys. I think I got through all of my notes okay. Let's see. I know people, I have proof, in my opinion. And I'm just so excited that I can read the text today. Isn't that amazing? I was so challenging these last few days. So that gives me hope for the next few days until the computer is all ready to go, the laptop. Okay, backpack. Number 8 is her brother. Number 8 to me had basketball jersey. Okay. So let's do the little thummy thing again. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. If you don't mind taking a second to do that, I would appreciate it very much. Please check to make sure that you're still subscribed if you want to be subscribed. And if you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It's no commitment, no sweat. Share the video if you like it, if you think that it's helpful, and turn on your notification bell if you like to be notified when I'm going live or dropping a video. So thank you, Mark, for saying I'm joking, all no proof, because I didn't know if you were joking or not. That's the problem with text, right? You just don't know. Like, I was thinking, that doesn't make sense that you know people, that you prove. Okay. S Let's see. Thank you guys. I am going to review my notes. Oh my God, too many. Thank you, Jazz, Moz, and chat. I know I have so many notebooks. I mean, a lot of times I have 3 or even 4 notebooks when I come onto my live. I try to just have 1. It depends on if I could find each notebook when I was having brain leaks. But then, altogether, I have like 10 or 20 notebooks. It's ridiculous. And sometimes I think, oh, I should sit down and consolidate them all onto a hard drive. But maybe someday I will because it is interesting to me. I love finding the old notebooks and reviewing them. It's fascinating. Friend did not tell anesthesiologist he was on roids, cardiac arrest, and died in surgery. Oh, I'm so sorry, Annie Ruler. That's terrible. That's heartbreaking. Hey, Mrs. Amir. Hello. Sorry that we're wrapping up, dear. Thanks for coming in. Rachel says, I came in late. Did you hit on the natural gas shortage in Moscow and officer involved of a 67-year-old woman in Spirit Lake? No, not at all. Kootenai County, handled by Stanley Mortensen. Interesting. So Stanley Mortensen is the district attorney. And I never understood what people meant when they talked about the corruption really being a problem if it's the DA until I saw that Hulu series called Chance. And that's what that 3-season series is about. You think it's about a homicide detective, but it's really about a DA. I highly recommend it. It's awesome. It's Hugh Laurie stars in it, and I think he produced it and maybe helped write it. And it's set in San Francisco. The cinematography is amazing. The whole show is amazing. But yeah, Stanley Mortensen. I early on in the Idaho 4 case was trying to see if there was a connection with Dylan and Stanley, and I never found one. And I've never heard of anybody finding one, but I'm curious. I know there are a lot of Mortensens around that area, but I'm super curious. Absolutely. Especially, you know, sometimes with people in high positions of power, they have the internet scrubbed so you can't find anything on them. I'm surprised that we've been able to find anything on a lot of these people, really. Private driver, several cars described. Jeff High has it blue Mustang, I think. Jeff H has it blue Mustang, I think. Not sure, Jeff H, who you're referring to. I thought you were referring to Jeffy Poo for a second. I was like, oh no, is he here? I thought you were saying hi to him. That was just the glare of the glasses. So Rachel, no, have not talked about that. Yeah, have not talked about that. And um, yeah. Let's see. With all non-essential businesses were shut down yesterday. Huh, Rachel Smith, all non-essential businesses were shut down yesterday because of that? That's wild. Um, Hi, you now. I'm not sure, Misha, from videos from Ukrainian. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Hi, you now POS, caca makers, caca markers. I don't know what you're saying, honey. Annie Ruler says our government goal electric can all be turned off, in my opinion. Okay, you respect Ukrainian. Of course. Absolutely. Um, I don't know what you're getting at though. Anyway, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. I hope you have a fabulous Friday. I hope you have a really good weekend. Take excellent care of yourself. Make sure you get your rest, your relaxation, your nourishment, spiritual, psychological, and physical. And just sending you light, sending you love. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. And please, Sudi, send me your address so I can send you your jewelry. And then on Monday, we'll do another giveaway. So have a fabulous weekend. I'm hoping I'll be on Shan's panel or panels over the weekend, depending on what she does. But until then, peace out and thank you kindly. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for watching.